everybody. Thank you for joining the Get Ready Small Business Business Specialist webinars. I'm Petina Tieman from Complete Business Solutions in proud partnership with the Small Business Recovery Centre Department Employment, Small Business and Training. We will run daily live webinars with business specialists from around the state to help small business owners with the preparedness and recovery for the upcoming disaster seasons. Just as an FYI, these sessions are being recorded. They are live sessions being recorded, with those recordings being available publicly on the government portal as well as across social media. If anybody has any concerns, please let me know, but there is no live interaction with the participants today. If you have any questions, could you please put those into either the Q&A or the chat window. So today's session, we have Tanya Brown from Getbranded in Townsville. We'll just pop up her contact details slide, please. Whilst we're waiting for that, we'll just do an acknowledgement of country. So as an Indigenous entrepreneur myself, I'd like to pay our respects to the traditional owners on the grounds in which we work on today, past, present and emerging. I encourage all people participating in this session to identify the traditional owner groups in the various areas that you live and work on and research their history of your area. So just sorry, we seem to have a couple of technical difficulties bringing up this introduction slide. Sorry, there it is. Okay, so Tanya Brown is a young dynamic marketing guru who has forged a career in marketing by not only working in it, but by living and breathing it. She's done a Bachelor of Business with majors in marketing, communications and design. Tanya joined Getbranded, which she's now been with for 7 years. Tanya has worked with clients that span from large national shopping centres, councils, developers, and a huge industry array of small businesses from retails to startups to trade services. Tanya loves to analyse the real target markets for businesses. She has a creative mind that also asks the questions, is there a better way to achieve a more resounding result? She likes to think outside the box, a woman after my own heart. So Tanya, we welcome you into the Zoom session today. How are you, Tanya? How's Townsville today?
Townsville, I think it's pretty hot outside, but we're just locked ourselves in with all the air cons because that's what we are.
Lovely. So we'll be in Townsville, as you know, next week for the Get Ready Small Business Expos with the meet and greet event for networking on the Tuesday evening, Melbourne Cup Day of all things, Wednesday for the Expo, and then doing one-on-one with business specialists in the area on the Thursday. So Tanya, we welcome you to the Zoom session today, and I will now hand it over to you.
Fantastic. Just pop this one up. So welcome everyone, and today I'll be talking about getting through the tough times. So if you're anything like us up and Getbranded, you've had a wild couple of the last 3 years, not only with floods but COVID. So it's a bit of I guess a struggle trying to keep your head above water when you keep getting hit with I guess, issue after issue. So hopefully today's presentation will help highlight and give you some resilience and some tips for planning. But before we do this, I just want to explain what tough times are. So a tough time could be COVID, or it could be a flood having physical impacts, or it could be something as such as a staff member leaving you, or an issue that is completely out of your control. So what I want you to keep in the back of your head, it always doesn't have to be a physical impact on your business. So what we'll start off with is what we like to work with at Getbranded is the 5 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Don't let for that disaster or issue to arise. Be proactive and get on top of things. So as mentioned, today gives you the tips to reset, reinvigorate and plan. Our aim is to leave you with this presentation with the knowledge to plan for the not so easy times. Sorry. So what I want you to keep in mind with what to expect for today is we're going to have a look at the current positions and getting reacquainted with, getting back and reacquainted with your business, giving you the inspiration to ask yourself and your team some hard questions. Cash flow, get the money flowing in and stop it from flowing out. Communication, keep your doors open through the good and the bad times and setting an action plan to communicate. KISS, keeping it simple and getting back to basics. Housekeeping, while it is a crappy thing to do, it's essential to keep your business afloat. And team, what people to have around you. So we're going to start off with how well do you really know your business? So I want you to think to yourself, how well do you know your business? Do you know the ins and outs? Do you know your current position? I don't want you to just sit here and listen to me today. I want you to think about your business and how it relates to the following aspects: the business life cycle, your business pitch, the 80-20 theory, and the people you have in it. As I sit and talk, write down your answers so you can get a guide where your business sits. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them as well. Oops, wrong way. So first up, we are at the business life cycle. So what it is the business, as the business progresses over time, it moves through different phases. We call this the business life cycle. As your business hits milestones, whether it be financial, more customers, marketing, or staff, your business moves through those life cycle phases. Each business goes through it. Each business started off, each business grows and hits that maturity stage. Your business may not be at that stage yet, but it happens. Each stage happens, and it's based on a few different things such as sales, costs, and profits as well. So for example, at Getbranded, we're in our 16th year of business. And you would say we are in our maturity stage. From here, we could go in two directions: a natural decline, or we could capitalize on that maturity. We have a great reputation and a great network of businesses who we work with in Townsville. So while we're in that maturity phase, we need to take advantage of that and pivot, or keep doing what we're doing because it's working for us. However, if you find your business is keeping on moving in that declining phase, then work out what you're doing wrong. You might want to introduce a new product or service to make your business become more profitable. And then you go back to the introduction stage. So there's no right or wrong. You just keep on moving. So something like a shopping centre, it goes through these stages every 7 years. You'll find that when it hits the maturity stage, it'll be about that 7-year peak. And then that's when it goes into development. So you could see this whole shopping centre gain a new level, or a whole different array of shops, for example. What they've done is they've analysed their market and who's coming to the shopping centre and adapted it to suit. So before we move on, I just want you to note down what stage of the business life cycle is your business in. Okay, so we move on to the pitch. At Getbranded, we use the elevator pitch analogy. You get in the elevator, you've got someone to impress. You press level 10 and someone asks you, what do you do? How do you answer them? You've got a few minutes, or not even that, you've got 20 to 30 seconds to tell them who you are, what you do, and what makes you special and stand out. Remember, it's only this little amount of time, and you could make fantastic contacts, but you only have that 20 to 30 seconds. So it needs to be memorable, interesting, and succinct. What do you want them to leave that elevator knowing? You often use your elevator pitch in networking situations. So going for coffees with your local Chamber of Commerce, or meeting new clients, or coming to the business seminar meet and greet next Tuesday night, you will use your business pitch. Sorry, I keep pressing the wrong way.
That's a great example, Tanya, using the pitch next Tuesday evening at the meet and greet.
So we move on to the 80-20 theory. It's something that I guess your business would already be doing, but you don't know what's happening. So the 80-20 rule of thumb is based on a relatively small portion of customer base or product. That small portion usually drives up the most profits. And so that's the 20%. And the 80% is those left over. So they might not be your regulars. They might buy every now and then or contact you when you need something. However, that 20%, they're your regulars. They buy your most product. They always, you know that when you have a sale, they will always be in. So how to find out your 80-20? You have a look at your profit and loss, and you highlight who are your highest spenders. What do they have in common? So for us, when we work out our promo product, we find that our best clientele are those in large organizations. So we chat to them and spend 80% of our time focusing on that 20%. So we get the best return of income. You need to have a look at what is your best selling product. What's your best selling service? What makes it so popular? And this helps with forming your marketing towards it as well. There is no use pushing a high margin product if no one likes it or no one's using it. So really have a think about what works for you, what works for your business, and what's going to give you that highest return.
Tanya, we have a question just going back to the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Samantha has asked, how do you come up with the elevator pitch? So is there a quick answer that you could provide as to how to best come about with that?
Just asking yourself the questions, who you are, what you do, and what makes you stand out. What is the information you want them to walk away with if you only had 20 to 30 seconds? Practice it in a mirror if you need to get it down packed. Practice on your friends. That's what we do here. We just practice and just focus it in and getting the right things across.
Okay, thank you.
So when you look at your current position, you look at the people who are involved with it. So not only your customers, but your staff as well, and your competitors. So when disaster strikes, your relationship with people can be the only thing. So when COVID happened, what did you do? Did you talk to your staff? Did you talk to your customers? They're the ones that you reach out to. You understand who you're talking to, where they come from, what industry, their location as well. So know that people are key to your know who your people are to be able to move on. Know your competition. So with COVID, if you've pivoted with new products or new services, know who your new competition is. So we pivoted during COVID and after the floods into videography. We saw that gap in the market due to people moving online. So we decided to give that service. So we had to do an analysis of who our competitors were. Now, because we're moving into a different segment, we had to do an analysis on who our staff members were to understand their strengths and weaknesses and who could take on the videography role if we wanted it to be successful. So people are key to moving on and expanding or recovering from a disaster or an issue.
We have two questions, Tanya, regarding to our clients. So Matthew has asked, is it advisable to just forget about the 20% of the clients that don't perform? Coming back to that 80-20 rule?
No, you still want to talk to them, but understand what they're buying and what they're spending, or in their relationship with your business. You still want to take care of them, but don't put all your effort into them, if that makes sense. you've got to work out your effort versus your return. If your return on investment is this much and you're spending all your time and money focusing on this much, you're not going to get that return on investment.
Great. And Emily has asked a question, do you recommend any good systems to collect all this data about customers and market, etc.? I'm thinking Emily's talking something along the lines of a CRM.
Yeah, so there is so many out there. I know we use our own data management system with our website, but there you've got things like Salesforce, HubSpot. There is so many, but you've got to look at the cost versus the management. So if there is only, a lot of these platforms, you're paying per subscription. So for example, if you had 5 staff members, you'll have to pay for 5 subscriptions. So you just work out your best, the features that they have versus the costs that they're delivering for you. And you work out if it's worth that much. When it comes down to it, sometimes an Excel spreadsheet can work just as much if you're just starting out and wanting to keep costs low. So for a summary, in your current position, with everything that happens in today's world, you just need to know where you're at. So then you can make the decision to adapt, being able to plug and play your workspace or your home office and changing that status quo for your business. So adapting is all about changing your business to know what you can do to get the bills paid. So your business model might have been for a restaurant just doing dine-in meals. COVID wiped that out. So you had to look at doing takeaways. That's adapting. But knowing that your current position helps you, give you the strength to know that you can adapt. Oops, sorry. So cash is king, and we don't mean the actual cash that the government's cracking down on. We mean know your money, know your accounts. So the term cash is king is used to reinforce the importance of understanding the many facets of your business, including your accounts receivable. Reinforcing your trading terms to your clients can ensure healthy cash flow that it can assist your business in staying afloat through tough times. So when COVID hit back in March last year, what was the first thing you did? If you were like our business, we went into our QuickBooks and understood what our position was. We knew which clients owed us money, we knew who we owed money, and we understood when that money was coming versus small business, if they were a client that owed us money, versus government, because they've got longer pay periods that they work with and you've just got to deal with it. So knowing when that money's coming in and when it's going out is so important to understand in a disaster. So after we did all that, we asked the hard question, how long can we stay afloat with no money coming in, but bills still having to be paid? We worked out such things as subscriptions, insurances, wages, purchases. We had a chat with our staff to work out, okay, if we've got no work, how's this going to work? Can they use their holidays? We had a look at our insurances, because we're an event company. We lost all of our event work in one day. So we went back to our insurance agency and said, look, we're not doing events. Can you do us a better deal? Because we need that part cut out of our insurance costs. And they did. Go to your banks and check out your loans and just being prepared to seeing what opportunities you can to save money, but understanding that when everything starts up again, you will be that little bit behind and you need to make up ground. Know both your gross profit and net profit to get a true reflection of the position your business is in. Therefore, you can make the choices in regarding in regarding staffing, purchasing, and stock orders.
We've actually had 2 comments just on regarding that slide, Tanya. So Noah has said, cash is really important, though in an environmental disaster that cuts power to your business. Paying suppliers, giving change, all those sorts of things obviously become very difficult. So yeah, cash is king, but, and Samantha has said, It's great that you give examples of your business changes during the tough times. It helps me relate for my own business.
Thank you. You only know what you know. You can't pretend to pretend to know situations that you've never been in.
Yeah, very true.
Sorry, I'm not good at this slide thing. Okay, so with cash flow comes with getting the money in. Pick the low-hanging fruit. Know what works. It's usually more abundant because it's ready for the picking. It's easier to obtain and requires less effort. May not be as high yield, but volume can replace this. Knowing who your customers are will give you a clear understanding of where to start. So we sell stubby coolers. They may not give us the best return, but they're low-hanging fruit because people love stubby coolers. When COVID hit, we went with hand sanitizers because we knew that the demand was so high that we needed to get a part in that. In saying that, watch putting all your eggs in one basket, to use a different analogy. You can jump into a situation where you just go too hard at something. So some of these businesses went so hard into hand sanitizers and masks, and once things settled down, they were left with so much. So then they had to stop sitting there doing nothing, getting out of date. So go for the low-hanging fruit, but just don't get greedy. So communication is so vital during COVID or during a flood or a weather event. You've got your traditional COVIDs in, you've got your traditional methods in the fact that while the event is happening. So during the floods, we relied on radio, we relied on our text messages and TV to get updated on where we're at. But that's the emergency responses. But by understanding that and by keeping your ear to the ground, you know what's happening and it can help shape your next move for your business. So for example, a flood. If you know you're in a low-lying area and you've got stock on the ground, you know that you've got to get it out. You know you've got to get it up high. And then for a cyclone, if you're in an area that's cyclone prone, you know that you can need to keep an eye on your staff and you have to send them home at a certain time. With COVID, you needed to understand the outlook of when lockdowns were happening, when freight and businesses are struggling with their turnaround times and logistics. So keeping an understanding of what is happening communication-wise is understanding on the current status quo is so important. But that's not just communication in, it's communication out as well. So what I want you to do is put a page together about the people you would contact if your business was placed in a tough situation. So you had to shut down tomorrow. Who would be the first people that you call? Is it your staff? Is it your accountant, your logistics, your suppliers, your key clients, your bank? We recently lost our graphic designer with 1 day notice. That's a disaster to us, considering we had so much work lined up. So instead of pretending everything was okay, we got on to the phone to our clients and said, this is happening. We've lost our graphic designer. Bear with us. We're working through a problem. We're working to find a solution. Our clients were so much happier with that we communicated that instead of pretending everything was hunky-dory. It just doesn't work. You can't fake it because they will find out. And that relationship with the client can get tainted. And also remember, your staff are the key to the continuance of your business. As to its products, clients, and cash flow, the list goes on. If you need to contact people in a hurry, have a plan. Understand the process of what you're going to do. Is it through text message? Is it through email? Like the commenter said, that during a flood or during a cyclone, all the internet and whatnot goes down. So how are you going to contact them? Is it through a message through Facebook? because Facebook pivoted during the floods and we all had those messages, I'm in Townsville and I'm okay. So it's looking at and being creative to discover which way and how you're going to communicate with everyone or all your stakeholders.
We've had a couple of comments. Tanya, if I can just share. So Tyler has said, during Yasi, we changed our menu to suit all the tradies that came to town to rebuild and repair damage. So it's one of the ways that they pivoted and hit the low-hanging fruit. Matthew has said posting good images of recovery helps showcase the whole region is actually ready for visitors, because often, as we all know, there's some real negative hype on the media about when floods or cyclones have hit or storms have hit, and often it's blown out of proportion. So, you know, Matthew's suggestion of posting those positive images is really great.
100%. And what that also does is it shows the severity of the situation as well. I was in Emerald and we had 2 floods in 3 years, and the town was split in half, or split in 4s, to be honest. My family owned a chicken shop and they couldn't sell the chicken because all the power had went off. So what we did was we spread the word to get the word out, because we just gave all the chicken away. So by doing that, it was a good story, but the chicken ended up getting taken to the SES, who were helping people out. So good things can't come out of it by spreading the word, by getting the information out there. And remember, with these good stories, see what your local Chamber of Commerce are posting about, see what your council are doing, and to try and share those good words. Because like you said, there is so much negativity online, and during such a high anxiety-driven event, something positive just makes you see that everything's not so bad, that we will get through it together. In Townsville, we have a local florist. So last year, while everyone was in lockdown, they did their best Mother's Day that they've ever done, because they were delivering flowers. So what they did is they just made sure everyone knew that of the service they provided. They pivoted to offer a drive-through service for their Mother's Day stalls. They had stalls all over the town just to make that opportunity to deliver flowers that bit easier. So they took a negative and turned it into a positive for their business. They've also pivoted in doing the dried arrangements, because they can't get any fresh flowers, because they just can't get it from overseas. So when it comes down to it, keep it simple. Usually the easiest answer is the right answer. It helps you, when you break it down and you make things easier, it helps you see the clarity. It helps make it achievable. What it does is it gets you back to the basics. So the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, it states that most systems work best if they're kept simple rather than made complicated. And preparing for a disaster or working through a disaster is no different. So take a step back and keep it simple by detecting waste in materials, labour costs, and minimise it where possible. Like I mentioned before, with all your subscriptions, we had MailChimp, we had all these Adobe programs, but we weren't using it for a good period of time during COVID. So what we did is we paused the subscriptions. So that regular $30 per month wasn't there anymore. $30 may not seem much, but when it adds up with all the other subscriptions that we cancelled, it helped a whole lot. Create opportunities, and remember to get back to basics while remembering what you do best. Is it just talking to people? Are you your best salesman for your business? Save on wage costs by putting yourself out on the floor to sell stuff. You know your product better than anyone, so train your staff that way, or make sure you're the front of the business. By keeping it simple, you can avoid the clutter and objectives to meeting your targets, because you just make it happen. but it also can give you breathing space to work on your businesses rather than in your business. So during COVID, right at the start, we knew we had a break there. We knew that we had all our events gone, so we needed to find a way to get through it. We had all this administration tasks, such as our website, that we needed to work on. So we started working on that. It's something that we've wanted to do so long, but we've just been too busy, which is fantastic. But it gave us time to work on our business, to work in our business rather than on our business. Sorry, the other way around. To work in it. So instead of working on everyone else's websites, we worked on ours. And this brings me to housekeeping. Another thing that I got tasked with was filing. Now, it sounds boring, but it was so great being able to organize this system, being able to do a whole clean out of all our files, both digitally and physically. Knowing where we stood with, we found a whole heap of information that we just forgot about it, and we were able to put it into action as well. So understanding that housekeeping and corporate housekeeping isn't always a bad thing. You can give your business a little makeover. You might have wanted to always implement a new system. COVID gave us time to implement a new system. It gave us time to really look at our books and really reflect on what needs doing, as well as cleaning. We cleaned the office top to bottom, and we found dirt in crevices that we didn't know had. And it was just gave us a great time to reflect on what needed doing.
We've got a couple of questions or a couple of comments there, Tanya. So Emily has said having a documented process for communications is a great suggestion. Just going back a couple of slides there. Emily has also said that they've actually used the Disaster Hub information to prepare holding statements, which can be released during or after any emergency. So that's the Queensland Government's Disaster Hub app. Yeah. And Tyler has commented during the downtime, it's also a good chance to take some downtime. I think he means downtime personally as well.
100%.
Especially when you're a business owner and you're working too busy in your business. Make the most of some of that downtime so you're rejuvenated, ready for the good season to come through.
And with back on the communication thing, don't forget to put in your out of office. If you're changing your hours, don't forget to tell your clients through your out of office that you've changed your hours. Remember that one. That's a big one, because what they don't know, they're just assuming you're operating as normal.
That's a great idea.
So then we come to the team. Your team is your lifeblood. They're the ones getting you through it together. Your team doesn't just have to be you if you're a sole business owner. It's the people that are around you. It's your suppliers. It's your contractors. It's whoever helps you make your business you. So don't ever think that you have to go at it alone. What your team does, it helps ensure morale stays high. So even though these scary things may be happening, it's great to be able to focus on something that's not just affects you. It affects everyone else. It's important to communicate with your team weekly, daily, and your staff, depending on the situation. Sometimes your staff don't need to know everything that's going on, but you've got to tell them some things. If, for example, we had once COVID hit, we had a big discussion, and we looked at all opportunities for our staff. I, off my own bat, went and had a look and understanding of the JobKeeper payments and all that kind of thing as well. So I said to my boss that I can go down to 4 days a week because I've done my budgets, worked it out, and we came to a decision together that I would stand down and only do 4 days a week for the next 3 months. That was my choice, but I had the confidence and I had the support knowing that after that 3 months, should things go back to normal, everything goes back to normal in regards to my wage and my job. But that's because I was included in the decision-making process. But that's not always relevant to your team, but take them along for the journey.
I think that would have been, quite beneficial to Madonna, the owner of the business as well, knowing that you had shown some initiative and researched that yourself and offered to help the business by reducing your hours, which subsequently reduced the strain of cash flow for the business owner. So,
yeah. And I've had 2 pay rises since, so but I didn't do it for that. I did it because in 6 months' time, I wanted to come back to a job, because I'm a team player personally. So it's important to understand where your employees stand. Your contractors, we've got a great relationship with our contractors that we use, even though they're not on as direct part of our team. We feel that they are. We feel that we're on the team of the people that we supply. So it comes back to that communication as well, that we all feel that we're after the same thing, that we're all supporting each other.
Tanya, if we can just jump back to the housekeeping section there, bless you. Samantha has asked, what's the best cloud-based system for storing documents when you're going through that housekeeping process? Because as we all know, a lot of small business owners are very paper-based or keeping things on the computer, but then when cyclone or floods or fire hit, then they really struggle because they've lost all that documentation. So what do you guys recommend is the best system?
So put it into, I've got the greatest story. So we use OneDrive. That's something that we've set up with our IT company. So my other boss, Peter, he is a bit of an old soul and relies on paper. He files his things exclusively in his emails. And I'm talking big logo files, like 20 meg plus, all in his emails. A couple of months ago, he started complaining that his emails were full. Why do you think that was? So I had to sit him down and show him our filing system that had been set up the whole time. In turn, he lost emails. He lost his filing because he wasn't filing the correct way. He wasn't moving with the times, moving to the cloud. We were just talking this morning that all his ordering is in the books that are stored above the shelf. So if we had a cyclone, I don't know what would happen to the history, to the books, but updating and loading everything onto cloud, even if it's scanning it all in, is so important. Like I said, we use OneDrive because it syncs directly to our emails, and we work really well with that system. We find the opportunity to share files a lot easier with that. However, if you're not a OneDrive person, that's okay. You've got your Google Drives and Dropbox as well out there. But find one that works for you and what you can understand. There's nothing worse than being taught something that you definitely don't understand, or it doesn't come instinctively because of the way that they've set it up.
I was laughing because I'm like your other boss. I'm one of these people, I have 11,000 emails in one inbox purely for 30 days, the last 30 days. And then my other inbox, there's about a couple of hundred emails a day, but I'm very much like your boss. I'm very old school. And I still live off my external hard drive, whereas the rest of the business is in systems, because I do a lot of remote work. So I'm regularly going to places that don't have internet access. And like your boss, I kind of like to hold things close to my chest. Tanya, I am conscious that we have gone 10 minutes over time so far. So for any of the audience who are listening in, I think we've got about another 4 slides left. So we've probably got another 5-10 minutes left.
Yeah, the last 4 slides are just a summary and a bit of a cheat sheet that you can take with you. Understand your industry and trends. What are people spending on? Know what's selling and what's not in your own business. That 80-20 theory. Target markets. Know who all your customers are. Look at your facts and figures, then look again, then again. Especially important when it comes to applying for grants or funding opportunities, which disasters normally bring. Look at the low-hanging fruit and create opportunities to go after these customers, and engage your team, take them along for the journey. Communicate with your stakeholders, don't keep them in the dark. And remember, your stakeholders are your staff, your suppliers, anyone that has a stake in your business. Pivot or create diversity. Know the trends and prepare for them. Both. If you know that you're in a cyclone-prone area, that's a trend, so prepare for that. Negotiate better buying prices with suppliers or during a time of disaster with your banks and who else that you need to give money to. Find new customers and expand your segments. Like we did with our videography, we found lots more customers with that. Understand which of your products is more profitable and merchandise or create opportunity to sell more of it. And what does it cost you to open your doors? Create turnover of product to cover the basics, rent, electricity, etc. Time is available to review operating costs. Reevaluate your marketing tactics and actions. It's a great time to dust off your marketing plan that's sitting on that shelf. Negotiate better buying prices with suppliers, like we said. Look at your pricing strategy and ensure that it fits the current trading times. Get involved, network, and get back into your community. Join your local chamber of commerce, your tourism enterprises, volunteer on your school board or whatnot. Word of mouth is so powerful during times like these. And get most from your website and socials. Get an understanding. Use workshops like these to get everything you can out of it. The government are trying to give you, such as Desbert, are trying to give you these tools to prepare you for it. So take advantage of it, like you all are today. And that's me done.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Tanya, very much for your time. Has anybody in the audience got any other questions? I have been sending them throughout the session. So we'll just put up Tanya's contact details now. So anybody listening in on the recording will be able to have access to these details as well on social media. So Tanya can be contacted at getbranded.com, tanya@getbranded.com.au. And the website is the www.getbranded.com.au. So again, Tanya, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you in future sessions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening in today. And we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 12:30. Thank you.